One of the things we don't quite talk about is the need to embrace our mother tongue and use it to our own advantage, just like we did just now. For the longest time, it's been a battle of breaking free from the invisible ties that the colonial master had fabricated through language. We speak the language, the English language, as a first language, but what is bad in having a local accent when in fact the English language isn't your own mother tongue? Today on Trendwave, there is a video which has been making waves. In this video, we see Hafsah Abdullahi, a spoken word artist who is using a platform to promote acceptance of the mother tongue. Let's watch this.
To the girl in English class, what is funny? What is hilarious about my painful attempt to communicate in a language that is not even my own? See, this accent tells a story of survival. Tells how my mother tongue endured to this day, so I expect you treat my tongue with some respect. Every word, every syllable I utter comes from a riot within. My mouth is a babble between subconscious tongue, teeth, and vocal cord. So excuse you if my speech does not suit you. So this speech comes from the slaughterhouse I call a mouth. See, my mouth is a battlefield, a clash of unyielding cultures, warring for dominance. See, my tongue is a traumatized survivor, lost in this alien fluency. See, this accent is how I find my way home. How I say idikpi without biting my tongue. So my tongue is forever at war with itself, forever fighting to decolonize itself, fighting to lose and regain itself all at the same time. So cut me some slack. I will not be ashamed nor refrain from saying my name, and no, I will not apologize for my mother's legacy. For there is no dignity in denying my identity. So to the girl in English class, it's about time you learn my own language too.
Wow. Hafsah Abdullahi is joining us now on a chat about her craft and the motivation behind that trending video. Welcome, Hafsah. First of all, let's talk about that video. You talked about how your accent tells a story of survival and how it's a constant battle of unyielding cultures warring for dominance in the mouth. That was brilliant. Happy, can you walk us through your thought process and how you came about this piece?
I wrote this piece for an entry for the Lake International Poetry Festival. And at the time I wrote it, I didn't have anybody in mind. I just wrote my thoughts because I had my reservation about being ridiculed for having an accent or my mother tongue interference every time I tried to communicate with the now general language. So I think what inspired or what moved me to make that piece was because of my certain reservation for that piece. And as a result, I just ended up I tried to be as honest and as blunt as possible. So that's what I just did in that piece. The reception from the people, my listeners.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Okay. I didn't, like I said from the beginning, I didn't actually write it for a set of people. I wrote it for myself. So when I posted the video, the reaction I got was mind-blowing. I got reactions from not even from Nigeria alone. I got reactions from Asians, from Spanish-speaking people, French-speaking people, and they're coming into my DM to explain that they've had this issue of language barrier or accent issues where they felt small in other environments they weren't really comfortable in, or other environment that wasn't speaking their language. So they were happy. I think the one that moved me the most was a Spanish lady that did a remix of my video where she invited her HS class and told them to pick their favorite lines from that piece and tell the class why they liked that line about my piece. So that blew my mind. Like, the reaction was just too much, overwhelming, I must say.
That's really brilliant. So do you have any personal experiences of being mocked for your own accent?
A lot actually. From family, from friends. But I think where I got the most ridiculing was in school, because I study English and literary studies in my school, APU, and it is expected that as an English student you're supposed to sound better than everyone else. And whenever I have interference in my communication, I always have this. Whenever I'm trying to pronounce the ch and the amygdala, so we have the ch and sound interference problem. So when maybe I want to say chair, I might say share.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And then whenever I do that, I get people laugh or ridicule me. It's unsettling and uncomfortable. But it's just, the point I'm trying to bring about people ridiculing me is that I think I got more ridiculing from even non-English speaking people than even English speaking people themselves, which is quite sad. because it just goes to show how we've disregarded our own language and how we've regarded a foreign tongue, which is very, very sad, actually.
Very well put, Hafsah. You mentioned the fact that it's quite unsettling and uncomfortable. How would you advise anyone who has ever felt that they don't belong to other groups because of their local accent, which is natural, if you ask me?
If there's something I admire very well about English-speaking people, is how they carry their culture, how very confident they are about speaking their languages. I think maybe it's because of this confidence or how they carry it that we were able to make it the general tongue today. If the English-speaking people can carry their language with so much confidence, why shouldn't I? So even if I find myself in a space where my language is not the most spoken language, I feel like my accent is my most basic form of identity, because I might not be dressed in my cultural attire all the time, or wear something that looks like, or some non-English speaking people are not necessarily black, so you can't really say you're black, your color will be your sense of identity. So your accent or your language is your most basic form of identity. And I feel like we should also learn to carry it like with so much pride and self-confidence, the way the English-speaking people do carry theirs. Yes. I feel how you treat your culture or your language, it will determine how you expect an onlooker to treat your culture too. So you don't expect a foreigner to respect a culture that you do not even regard or respect. So if you carry it with so much confidence and regard, I think you are teaching a foreigner how to treat your culture. So we should learn Nigeria in diaspora, Africa diaspora should learn to carry their culture with regard. So that way they are projecting to an onlooker or a foreigner that I respect this culture and I expect you respect this culture too. So yeah.
Speaking of identity, how can Nigerians and Africans in general learn to use their mother tongue to their own advantage?
Yes, about that, I personally, let me take it from my own personal point of view. I feel like I am an ambassador of my culture wherever I go in this world. So using my language to my advantage, that is, I use my language as a way to project my culture. Like I said in my former comments, that your language is the most basic form of identification. We don't go around with watermarks on our faces, or some people don't have tribal marks or anything like that. So I could use my language as a way of like luring foreigners to come to want to know about my rich culture, as a way of projecting or publishing my culture. So I could use my language as a form of publishing, or as a platform where I can actually lure people to be interested in what I have. For example, I heard people in my DM asking me what Inipi means, or what Agbit means, because I'd be interested. And I'm like, what tribe is that? I'll say it's Igala. From what country? Nigeria. So, there's a tribe that is called Igala in Nigeria. And now we're speaking about Nigeria, and then we're speaking about my hometown. And I use my language. I advise that people should use the language as a platform to lure people to want to be interested in knowing their culture. And that way we celebrate our culture, we celebrate our indigenous, our origin. And also, I see this using my language as a way of picking my identity from the rubbles of colonialism. That is, my language is still the most basic form of identity today. So I'm using that as a means of actually finding my roots, finding whatever is left from this rubble of colonialism.
Let's do something very quickly. What's that thing you said at the end of your last piece? You said something like "El should do it." Can you say that?
All right. I think we network issues there. It would have been really nice to hear her.
Yes, it would have been really nice to hear from her.
I can say the Igbo version of that.
Please say it.
Basically, what she was asking is, what is your name? To the girl in English class, what is your name? That's what she asked in her language. In mine, I would say, Ogini Bafagi. Joe, what's yours?
In Yoruba language, you say Kiloruko. Joe, what do you want to say?
In Ibibio, it will be Akeredie.
See how beautifully different we all sound. We're encouraging you to embrace your language today. Make a video of yourself on your stories, saying something in your language. Tag us at New Central TV. We would love to hear your beautiful languages, and we certainly would love to repost these videos. Thank you very much, Lise, for joining us.